And it's working. Yay. Welcome everyone to
Did you have
IFB.
doubts? Seriously, did you have
What?
doubts?
Stop. It's Interfleet broadcasting time. It's our sci-fi pop culture news and wait, what?
Oh,
You're
nothing?
laughing. Stop it. It's
Nothing,
it's
nothing,
our
nothing at all. Nothing
commentary
at all.
broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Everything
I'm
is
New
just
York
fine.
Pete.
Yep.
I'm New York Pete, and that's the Tipsy Toaster.
Yo. Peace out, brothers.
Oh boy. So, I don't know. A lot of you actually had jumped in over at IFB exclusive. We pulled that one off, and I mentioned we're gonna have some really cool stuff going on our regular IFB. So here we are. John one is prepped. We have our guest. I mentioned we're gonna be talking BSG, so there's gonna be BSG talk tonight. So stay tuned, man. Our guest is here. So, man, we're gonna have a good time with this one. Welcome everybody. All the fans are with us, all the regulars. Chris Laskowski from Down Under, Rob Baum, unofficial fact checker, is here with us. Thank you. Erica and Deg. Yo, Deg, what's up, man? From California, Kim Harms, Bert Oliver Bomer, also from the West Coast. He's with us. James McCoy, and who
I
else? Who
see
else? Jim
Jim, and
Krubner,
I
love you,
see
man.
Deg, and I
Jim,
see
awesome.
Kim, and
Lola. I see Lola's on. I love it. Just like
and I
romper
see,
room.
and I see all these happy faces out there today.
That's right.
And who has a
all
birthday?
about the happy
Don't-
faces.
who has the birthday? We have to mention the birthday people as well. Oh, what you got there? Ooh, that's kind of cool.
I found that. I found that in
I
my
used
box.
To, I used to
of Battlestar
always
Galactica.
watch when I came home from school. I Dream of Jeannie reruns.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember in fourth grade it was like, if you had three wishes, what would they be? And then everybody be like, mine was Batmobile, a tank, and then I couldn't get to the third one, but it was always the Batmobile first and then a tank.
Okay.
And then sometimes I throw in a phaser. I'm like, what about a Star Trek phaser? So sometimes that became like a number three. But yeah, I Dream of Genie, man. So, oh, look, see, Rick says yes, so did I. That's right. Happy birthday to anyone who celebrates today.
Yes, or this
Absolutely.
week. Yeah, we don't want to.
Or this week.
Yeah, we only come around once a week. So, what you got there, Pete? Should we all get together? Have we all got
I
something to
have-
drink?
Yes, we all have
All
something
right,
to drink.
let's get our drinks
Earl
ready.
Grey, hot.
Earl Grey hot.
Yes.
All right, well, here's
From
our guest and
England.
everybody else here.
That's right. Well, Barry, thank you for joining us. Barry Eldridge from Factory Entertainment. Thank you, sir. Part of what we do here on IFB is we always acknowledge the fans, because without them, we wouldn't be here talking about these great shows.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I think that's one of the best intros I've ever heard. So cheers to that, I would say. I feel like I should have a flagon, but I have a teacup, but that seems a little on brand.
We have
I should
Hofbrau.
go with my Star Trek teacup.
Oh,
there you
go. Perfect. Appropriate. Just gotta make sure.
And then I'll up that with the Star Trek bottle opener.
Ah! Why is it Star Trek of all the fandoms has all the best liquor? I've wondered this.
Well, look, Battlestar has ambrosia, so that's
true.
Yeah. Hey, John, are you ready?
Yes, all ready. How you guys doing?
Good. What do you got?
Oh,
Anything good?
What are you drinking?
nothing good. I'm staying
Anything?
tonight.
Well, you just
yeah,
have to air
medicine.
toast.
Air toast.
Air toast. So we always toast in the air. It's just
Yeah.
breathe it in.
Well,
there we go.
We here at IFB, we make sure that we always recognize and appreciate the fans. We are fans, and we make sure that everyone out there that supports us and supports the genres and the fandoms, we toast to them. So, Tipsy.
Yeah, thanks to everybody, from in front of the camera to behind the camera to the fandom. It is the fans that truly fuel the fleet. Here's to you.
Fans fuel the fleet, guys. Here's to you. Cheers.
Let's do it, guys.
All right, perfect.
All right.
So, before we bring back Barry to talk, you know what, Battlestar
cool
Galactica.
stuff.
Yeah, cool stuff. And all the other, I mean, there's a lot of stuff,
There's a lot of information.
sci-fi and
We're gonna
genre.
milk from Barry's head tonight.
We're gonna, well, yeah, we're gonna get stuff. We're gonna,
Squeeze it
so
out of there. Just
yeah,
try to
John
see if we can
1.
get any new. If we can find any new stuff that's coming out, maybe.
Yeah,
that,
who knows?
hasn't
We're
been
gonna,
released
try
yet,
hard.
you know?
We're gonna try hard to get scoops. Yeah, right. Cylon Sword.
Whoa, yeah,
So,
Skeleton Sword. Yes.
oh yeah, John One has a full presentation
Yes,
as
he does.
usual. So
As usual.
he's going to give
we-
us the news from the world out there, and I got to see it, so it's pretty cool. So John, if you're ready, we're going to pull you up, and I think Tipsy
Yep.
is
I
is,
have
is
it.
good. Yeah,
No, I just got.
we got
to
it. There you go.
Audio on if it's not on already. Hang on, John. I really need to fix that button. I have not. All this time I messed around. I have not fixed that button yet. But now there you go, John. And the news.
John on the street.
John on the street, reporting the Space Chronicle news. Dun dun dun. There we go. Just have to have that last part of it.
I'm gonna get a type. We gotta get a type of background noise.
Yeah.
Hello. We all set?
Yep.
Good. All right. Hey, everybody. We have a good show tonight and some news. Amazon has released a Bondsman starring Kevin Bacon. Bacon plays a bail bondsman that was killed on the job, and then all of a sudden he comes back to life. The scene where he comes back to life is kind of shocking, but it's good. But then he finds out he's working for the devil as a demon hunter that brings back escaped demons to hell. I thought it was a movie. It's been done before. A lot of other shows, but it's not really a movie. It's a series. I'm pleasantly surprised about that.
Okay.
So it's like an 8-part series. So it's pretty good. That's out on Amazon today. So Kevin Bacon's in it. A couple of actors. It's good. It's
Isn't
pretty
that
good.
the thing
so
we
far.
have to
I
connect
enjoy it.
Kevin Bacon? Does like everything connects to Kevin Bacon somehow?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
Seven-
yeah. Look at that.
Seven
That's,
things
Ash.
to Kevin. 7 things to Kevin Bacon.
7 degrees of
7 degrees, that's
separation.
it.
Yeah.
There's Ash versus Evil Dead right there. That's a scene right from there. The chainsaw. 6 degrees. There he goes. So it looks pretty good. It's on Amazon. Check it out. The special effects are really good, and I enjoy it. And on Netflix is again today. Devil May Cry, according to the popular video game. That's out on Netflix today. It's on urban fantasy based on a popular video game. Finally, season 2 of HBO's popular series The Last of Us premieres on April 13th.
Oh, I just want to go back to The Devil May Cry. If you haven't heard the soundtrack for that yet, it is on Amazon Prime audio. It is pretty amazing. It's got Power Glove, and if you're into synthwave and dance stuff, it's really good.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got to see that one.
Back to The Last of Us.
Nice.
Sorry.
We're gonna wait
If
to
I
see
didn't
who
mention it,
gets
I would have
streamed.
forgotten it later. So
It's that techno music.
Yeah.
So we're
I'm
gonna
looking
wait
forward
to
The
see
Last of Us.
who gets streamed. We're gonna see who gets shroomed in this one. So it's like 20 years after a disaster of the world, where mushrooms become cordyceps to take over the world and start they turn to monsters and start killing people and try to survive. So season 2 is coming up April 8th. So it's been pretty good. So I'm looking forward to that. That's like the best thing I'm looking forward to so far. So, but now we're headed back to Gilead. Under his eye, The Handmaid's Tale, 6th and final season will air on Hulu April 8th. Fitting times for a fitting show, I guess. Some people think
Yay,
that.
goodbye. I hate that thing.
And fear not, fans, this isn't quite the end. There will be a follow-up series based on Margaret Atwood's 2019 novel, The Testaments. That's part 2 of The Handmaid's Tale. So, make everybody happy on that. And that's being developed. So, into a series for Hulu. And time to look into the mirror. Netflix's season 7 of Black Mirror returns to Netflix on April 10th for its 7th season. Right time to take a trip across the pond in the TARDIS to touch Doctor Who's 2nd season, airing on Disney April 12th. The Doctor meets Belinda Chandra and begins an epic quest to bring her back to Earth. So, Doctor Who fans out there, it should be a good show, good new aliens, and it should be good. So I'm looking forward to this season as well. So that's on Disney Plus. And some few news that's upcoming news. House of the Dragon has begun filming for season 3. More ad stuff, Or Martin was still waiting for that book to come out, but we'll keep doing those shows. That third book will come out eventually. Colin Farrell is hanging up his penguin suit and has begun talks to star as Sergeant Rock for DC.
That's, one
The
of
live
the,
action
that's the
for the
only
Rock
DC
movie.
comic I ever had was the
Oh.
Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, Sergeant Rock. Yep.
Actually, there's a new comic out called Hellfighters. It's Sergeant Rocker's in it, Wolverine, Ghost Rider. It takes place in World War II, so they're fighting Nazis that were overcome by demons. So that's pretty. And hey, cool stuff. And that's cool stuff. And no Jar Jar Binks. This one, Star Wars 20th anniversary of the Revenge of the Sith is hitting theaters April 25th. And if you go to Regal Cinemas, you can get like special Darth Vader soda cup for it, and popcorn bin.
Yeah,
so that's
$75 later.
Pretty much, it's worth it. Just like the regular tickets now.
That's just for the standard popcorn.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I'll put my soda in there. Oh, I am your drink.
I could go that. I could take that to the office and use that during meetings.
Yeah. When the boss is talking, they're going to drink one in front of them. Okay, go ahead, boss. That's going to be theaters April 25th. And up at Regal. Peter Jackson will bring us back to Middle Earth as he's making a similar line of movies based on the Similarian, J.R.R. Tolkien's Similarian. I expect to see that in the theaters by 2027. So he's wanted to do it for a long time. We thought he was going to make a series, but they're going to make it in movies. So, okay, I'm going to go for a ride. I'm waiting for that. 2 more years. Hopefully it's going to be good. And if you're at recent WonderCon, you would have seen Mondo's upcoming Masters of the Universe series. They're making brand new He-Man, Skeletor, and that's going to be pretty cool. WonderCon is going on in DC. I'll be a table game convention this Saturday in Long Island. That's pretty cool. And all you comic book fans, if you go in the comic book store, Daredevil, he's going to go on another killing spree. He's killing everyone in the Marvel industry now. He's going after all the Spider-Man and stuff like that. It came out a couple years ago. This came out today. It's number 1. Daredevil. Daredevil kills.
Get closer. Get it closer. I want to see the awesome.
Daredevil kills one last time.
Deadpool. You said Daredevil.
Daredevil. Oh,
you're looking at Daredevil. I get it.
I'm looking at Daredevil. This is one Daredevil. Cold Day in Hell, number 1's out. That's pretty good. Really good comic. That just came out today. And guess what's out? Herculoids.
Oh, the
Herculoids.
Herculoids are out
now. Oh, no, I definitely have to go get that, especially 20th anniversary.
Love the Herculoids. Open it up, John. Oh. Show us what it looks like. Oh,
that thing's huge already. Oh, yeah.
Oh, but that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Herculoids, man.
And Thundercats Lost is out. There's a new Thundercats series with brand new Thundercat characters. Thundercats, brand new characters. They're lost. It's a whole new series.
Cool.
Last but not least, I've been waiting for this for a long time. It's finally out. Titan, Solomon Kane.
Ooh, Solomon Kane.
That guy. That looks like
the movie was pretty good.
Oh, this is great. That writing in it is awesome. Look at that.
Ooh, that's nice. Cool. That's nice.
And if you guys I went to another comic book store. I tried to get some cables, but I also find this a fitting story.
Oh, that's a good issue.
That's a classic.
That's a great one. Yes.
I have that one. Sure. So I picked it up for commemoration of tonight.
That's open that up,
man.
That's
a good
cool.
one.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
there he is.
Pete, have you showed the inside? Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And everywhere else, so we see.
That's in good condition too.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I don't have that one. I got to go find those.
That's a good one.
See, where is it? Here it is, Battlestar Galactica.
Woohoo! Wow! Look at that.
Cool. Oh wait, this
girds its loins. Wow.
Yeah, girds its loins. There's some pictures in here, and you even got a couple of things of.
Got Athena in there? Is there Athena in there?
Athena's not in there.
Look, Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon.
Very cool.
You never know what you're gonna pick up in a comip book shop.
I find Athena pictures in there. Come on.
Oh, that's cool.
Call me.
Yeah, Athena's not in there.
You're out there. Call me.
Nice.
Nope. Planet of the Apes, the Black Cat.
Oh, another winner.
Another winner. Pete's favorite.
The Apes, baby. Oh, that's a great shot.
That's a great shot. Yeah.
That's a great shot, man.
Yeah. You never know what you're gonna pick up.
Does anybody know who that is? There's a fan.
Oh don't come on, you guys.
Who's the person in that picture? Who's the character in that picture? Not the star, just the character.
So come on. Starbuck gets all bent out of shape on that one.
Oh, there you go, Chris.
There we go.
There
finally.
you go.
Marin, call me, baby.
Boom.
Call me. I told you that's my dream interview. That's my dream interview.
Hey, stranger things have happened.
Yep. And that's it for my report, guys. We have a good show tonight, some good guests, and we're looking forward to seeing
There you go.
Battlestar Galactica stuff coming out tonight.
Robert got it off the bat there.
Yeah, of
Kim
course,
got
I
it.
expected that.
Kim got it too.
Cool.
Cadet
Cool.
Cree. That's right.
That's right. Thank you,
Put him in the
John.
cold cell.
Wait, yeah, put him in the cold cell and then do use that
Examine his
mind probe.
cortex later.
Yeah. Hey, let's see. Jared is with us live. Thank you for joining us. Captain Martin himself, George Zuvalos is in the house. Let's see. Did we miss anybody? Who do we let's see. Chris Marshall's with us. All
Yay!
right. Outstanding, Chris. Where's
Hey,
Chuck,
Chris,
man?
are you
We
gonna?
need Chuck on.
I'll be at.
Colin?
I don't know who's anybody going to be at AwesomeCon that tomorrow. Or, I mean Saturday. I'll be there Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, Commander Kane. Paul is here with us. Hey, Paul. Thank you for chopping in. Appreciate it, man. All you guys, thank you so much for
Hey, Dag.
watching.
Hey, Audie
So-
Randall. How you guys doing? Hey, Bert.
So we are going to. Oh, hey. So you needed a rating, right? So here's your rating.
Ah, thank you.
10.
Hey,
I'm a
you got it
10.
backwards, Pete. It's upside down.
Well,
There you go.
No,
that's what I was thinking I was
it's-
going to get.
Nah, it's a 10, dude. It's a 10. I was waiting for you to do that. That's awesome. Way to go,
0-1.
John. Always, John. You outstanding work. Thank you so much. And everybody needs to know that, behind the scenes, John doesn't only produce his own segment, but he's also our production coordinator. So he's always putting together who's coming and times
Going
and dates
not
and
showing up. And
yeah, a lot of work. So thank you, John. Appreciate it.
you are amazing, sir.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
A round of applause.
Yeah, thank you.
And here's to you, John. Thank you very much.
All right, John.
Whew, this
Yes.
is,
Okay.
Cheers.
8.4% alcohol. This is a good one.
All right. So, let's see. We are going to. All right. So, Tipsy, you spearheaded our guest.
Yes,
You took
I,
you took the reins,
I
right?
lucked out and they answered me back.
yeah, which is awesome. And there's a splash out there, right? There was a lot of talk in the last, I'd say, what is it, like 2 weeks, 10 days or so, about this one particular item that a lot of the fans of IFB have been discussing, debating, purchasing, acquiring, putting up on Facebook, sharing pictures, unboxing. There's a lot of talk, and we are lucky to have Barry Eldridge from Factory Entertainment, and hopefully we're going to get to really get into some of the nitty gritty about what and why. Not. I mean, it's not. We're not really questioning, the choices of
I mean,
Battlestar Galactica.
We're wondering why nobody else has made this choice beforehand. That's
Yeah,
what we're really wondering.
exactly.
I mean,
So,
come on.
Yeah. Without any further ado, Barry, welcome to IFB.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. It's a pleasure. It's always fun to get to talk to other like-minded folks who won't think I'm crazy or that crazy anyway.
Oh,
you
think
found
we're
the right
crazy. There's
place.
no doubt about it. Yeah.
You dropped into the right place. This is it. You're at home.
I feel like I'm simpatico. It's good. I'm among my people.
Welcome to
Already
the
feel
online
at home.
insane asylum. There we go.
Oh
So,
yeah.
My wife introduces me to people at like dinner parties and stuff and says he makes adult toys, and they all look at me and go, "Huh, I can see that."
Okay.
Oh boy, yeah.
I'm like, no, not that kind.
Yeah,
Similar.
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly first thing everybody thinks of. Thanks a lot. But
It's not
no,
a toy. It's not an. It's an action figure.
action figure.
Yes.
They're
It's not a
action
doll.
figures.
Yes.
Yes. But Barry, we as we've discussed and mentioned, we are gigantic fans of Battlestar Galactica 1978, and the reason is that Chris and I and many of our followers grew up in the 70s and 80s, right? So there's a big difference between those that look back. A lot of those of the younger generation that have watched the new one and then go back to watch the older, the 1978, are like, oh, that it's a little campy, or it's a little this, it's a little that. we don't have that perspective, right? We grew up watching it when it was on air originally, and all that great stuff that was on in the 70s and 80s, man, it was such a great time. And your company has taken it upon themselves to actually, you know, and embrace a lot of these shows. And so, the elephant in the room is Battlestar Galactica. So tell us the why and the how, and let's kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so I mean, the why and the how is the same for everything we make. We are a group of fans, and I'm lucky to work with some amazing people who are all similarly addicted or maybe afflicted. I don't know which, either both. We're just fans who make stuff that we hope other people will like, and we've always been in the periphery of kind of science fiction, pop culture. We do everything. We've done the occasional music thing and comic books. It really, there is, as long as it's something that we like and we're passionate about, we'll do it. And there are those classics, as you call them, I vividly remember, I grew up in the UK, how could you tell? And we didn't get Battlestar Galactica on the TV. My first vivid memory of it was as a movie. I think, somebody's going to quote me as being wrong here, but I believe it was either the first 2 or 3 episodes that they stitched together. And I remember going to a friend's 10th birthday party, and obviously it was post Star Wars, and that was a thing. And suddenly there was this new thing. And it had the same grittiness, but like you said, the things today, and it's weird, you mention it, when you look back and people say, oh, it's kind of campy and kind of silly, and I don't see it. I'm like, no, I remember it just like it was. It was fun, and it was cool, and it was a soap opera in space, and it
Right.
had it had characters that were cool, and yeah, it may or may not have had a certain female that, as a 10-year-old boy, you may have
Right.
been
Which
somewhat
one?
interested in,
Which one?
but I believe that that kind
one?
of thing isn't allowed to talk about today.
Which
So
one?
we'll,
Which one? Come on,
we'll
which
gloss
one was
over
your
that.
favorite?
And the one that really got me, and this is kind of weird, I fell in love with the Daggett. I was like, what is that? And now I know what it was, and it's kind of disturbing. And John Eves, the marvelously talented concept artist, told me the most amazing story about the Daggett, which I won't steal from him, but if you ever have a chance to have John Eves on as a guest, he may have nearly given me a coronary laughing about this story, about what happened on set with the chimpanzee in the Daggett costume. And we were at a show, I think it was a Star Trek show, and a person came on the booth to show us that they own the original Daggett costume.
Oh, wow.
And he looked him straight in the eye and just said, does it still smell of chimpanzee?
Oh no!
And the guy was like, what? And then he proceeded to tell him the story. And I tell you, it's one of those. You will die laughing.
It has to have, I mean, the chimp lived in that thing for hours and hours at a time. So it has to have a bit of a,
The
I
exact
mean,
words he used was, does it still smell of burnt chimpanzee?
Oh wow!
Oh,
and we'll leave
boy.
it there. I'll let John tell the story one day. Maybe I can
Wow.
persuade him to come on as a guest. Because
Oh, that would be great. We would
you
love
will
that.
die laughing.
Oh,
that would be
that's
cool.
awesome.
So
man.
that's the why, and the how is interesting. Battlestar kind of, even with the Ron Moore reboot and all of that happened, and this is really weird because that feels like it happened last week, but that's coming up for its 20th anniversary, I believe,
Yeah.
or something. It's been a while. But the classic vanished. Everything we do is licensed, and that's the boring part of the job, I guess, is the licensing, the behind the scenes permissions and what you can't do and what you can do. And I've been doing it for too long, 25 years, so I'm kind of used to it. But regularly you find these properties that you just can't make anything from because the person who owns the rights either doesn't know they own the rights, isn't currently marketing them, isn't interested. And so for many years, Battlestar kind of languished, and not for any specific reason, in a somewhat kind of, in Hollywood they use it for scripts that get put on the shelf. I forget the terminology, but it's a similar kind of thing. They just get forgotten. And so for many, many years, it was like, well, who's licensing Battlestar and who owns the rights and what can we do and what is available and what can't we do? And for some time, the answer to that was, I don't know. And so we just
What a
kept
shame.
pushing and pushing and pushing. Um, and eventually it kind of shook out that it was part of Universal's catalog and they did have some rights and they did want to push it. And thanks to their support, we're now sort of seeing a little bit of a, I said, renaissance. I mean, they've always supported it behind the scenes. There've been, Blu-ray releases and DVD releases and some publications, but it's just one of those ones that, I mean, I would rank it right up there with the Star Warses and the Star Treks. It's certainly had a similar fan base. Obviously Star Trek was much earlier and is the granddaddy of them all, and is what we make the most of our products are Star Trek. So I feel like I'm cheating on Star Trek a little bit, but hey.
That's okay. On IFB, it's okay.
That's okay. So BSG, we started 2 years ago with some simple stuff: a bottle opener, a tin lunchbox, a retro style lunchbox. That was kind of fun. And then the one that was close to my heart, because the other thing and a lot of these products are the same. You watched the movie or the TV show, but you then fell in love with them again because of the toys. And it was that right spot. I must have been 10, might have been 9, I'm trying to think. And there was that line of Mattel figures.
Yeah.
They were awesome. They were really good. And I had a weird, some of them were better than others. But when you look back on them for the period, they were pretty good. They had pretty good likenesses for the 70s, and that Ovion figure was awesome with the little, had multiple arms. And I don't know about you guys, but my toy box was very cosmopolitan. There were Star Wars figures who played with Adama, was occasionally the captain on a Star Destroyer, and there was a lot of cross pollination, and I always loved those. And I really loved, and I wish I had it with me. I should have brought it. I loved the Han Solo blaster that you could get as a kid that made the stupid noise that sounded like a power tool.
Yeah.
Just went,
Yeah.
there was never a BSG one, and they had such cool gadgets and they had such cool characters. It was something missing, and we had those vehicles and they were awesome, but they weren't quite. I don't know, it always seemed to me like it was a missed opportunity for Battlestar. There was so much that we should have had and could have had. And Mattel tried, and they were trying to swim against the tide of Star Wars at the time, which was a juggernaut. And I'm guessing for every Starbuck figure they sold, they probably sold 10,000 Han Solos. But they tried, and so we wanted to go back to that. And our stock in trade is prop replicas. That's the thing we're known for. It's the thing we've done. Our company is owned by one of the original founders of Master Replicas from way back in the day, who they didn't invent the category, but they certainly made it what it is today, with their Star Wars and Star Trek stuff. So straight away when I was given the opportunity, and like I said, we're fans, when I find that I'm given the right, I'm the lucky one who gets to make something, I jump on it with both hands. So the first thing I wanted to do was this. And we're going to follow trigger safety. I'm not going to point it at the camera because that kind of seems, even though it's a toy gun. But this was a wish fulfillment thing for me. This is the thing I wanted as a 10-year-old. And it's not a toy. It is a prop replica. We've tried to be as accurate as we can. And when you do get the privilege, and that is what this is, I do want to make that clear, when I'm the guy who gets to make the one, and I am very aware that many, many people have made this before me, and I do consider myself somewhat standing on the shoulders of giants, but everything that came before, I do take it into consideration and I do look. But this is the first officially licensed one. This is the first one where the owner of the property is going to make some money from it, and unfortunately, much as I'd love it not to be the case, this is a business and it is how I pay my mortgage and I feed my family, and it does need to be a business. And so when we can legitimize it by making an actual officially licensed piece, it makes it so much better, because the studios are aware of what goes on, and I people have maybe heard me say this before, but I use an analogy of like cars. You can pay, or you can go in a garage and work with one of your, with your son or your daughter and build a custom car, and it'll be amazing. But it won't be a Ferrari, or it won't be an Aston Martin, or it won't be, a Mustang Cobra jet. Those are two different things, and they can exist by themselves. And one of the things I noticed when I first started to look into BSG fandom was there's this amazing hobbyist network of people building the most amazing things in their homes, in their garages. The talent is mind-blowing, because they're working with source material that, in the case of Battlestar Galactica, is not. Back in those days, the budgets weren't great, and the requirement was it looked good on camera for about 10 seconds. Right. And when we started to look into this baby, man alive, was this a terrible prop in real life. I mean, it was pulled from castings that were copies of copies. They were painted up pretty hastily, and it's not in any way denigrating the work of the prop masters. It's a gorgeous prop when you sit and look at it, and it's got all the little greeblies, and people have already started to email me and like, oh yeah, that's that thing, and I recognize that from that model kit. And my favorite is the barrel. No prizes for anybody who can guess what this part is. It's probably easier when you look at it from this end. Much as I said I wouldn't point a gun at camera. We probably all saw one of these in our grandma's house in the 1970s. There were two of them, and one usually had H on the end, and the other one had C and a little red and a blue mark. It's a faucet handle.
Oh no!
And the reason it's a faucet handle is, if you remember, they were cast resin clear.
Yeah.
Because it needed to be clear so it would light up and glow when you fired it on screen. So some enterprising prop maker went and took a faucet handle off of their grandma's sink, or probably their own sink, and painted up the lines and masked them out. Perfect. And now you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like, oh my God, it's right there. And I've had a couple of other people pointing out some of the greeblies on here, and that's one of the things I think that gives Battlestar its look, is it had the same lived-in universe as Star Wars. They took pieces from the real world and glued them together to give it that certain, you can't replicate that look. The Battlestar itself is another good example. It has that, I think George Lucas has referred to it as a lived-in look. But he's right, it does have that, and we know why, because obviously John Dykstra was involved, and it had a similar parentage, I guess, the look of the props. There was a lot of co-work between the two. But that's how and why. And now we're in full swing. We are working on other things. Yep. Planning in this business is always fun. We have to adjust from one day to the next. So I can't tell you what the next thing will be tomorrow, because I truly don't know myself. We're also doing some lower entry point things. We do full-size replicas, but we do scaled replicas too. So
nice.
And this is die cast. It will come on a stand. And one of the things
that's one of the things coming out.
Yes, this will be. I'm hoping. Don't anybody quote me on this, but I want to have this out for the summer, for the convention season, because these are the sort of thing we can actually take to conventions and sell. You can't buy this at Comic-Con from us and take it back on a plane. It tends to cause it tends to cause problems.
I need to get one of those right now so I can review it and bring it out, because
we'll have to see what we can do. They are here. We made a slightly unusual choice for us with that. What we normally do is put things up for pre-order first and gauge interest, and then once we know there's enough interest, we proceed to production. With this one, we actually made them, and these were actually made months and months ago. We brought them in and delivered them to the warehouse, and then announced them to people as they're here now. We were attempting to try and avoid the tariffs that have hit us pretty badly now. So we've done it with this one, but the in-development stuff, we'll have to see how that goes. You guys mentioned and I'm happy we got there, because I knew there would be demand for Battlestar, but we just didn't know how big it was going to be. We just had no clue, because you can never tell until you turn up at the dance and you ask the girl she's either going to say no or she's going to say yes. And we turned up, and luckily she said yes. So far, thank you to everybody who supported it, because it does mean that I can continue to do this stuff, and I am working on many, many other things. You can guess what they are.
Well, we're hoping there's a Cylon sword in there.
So somewhere. I was going to come to the I love the Cylon sword, and I actually wanted to do the Cylon sword first. This is where we need your help.
Okay.
The original props, or the OPs, are, again, not the greatest. They're just kind of, I believe, and I'm trying to find, and I would love to know. So please reach out to the IFB guys. They have my contact. If anybody knows any legitimate factual history behind this, what I've been told is it was a central casting prop that was borrowed from something else, and central prop houses used to store props, and they would be ready. You'd see this all the time on Star Trek. They would, I need 3 sci-fi looking consoles, and I need this and I need that, and the same item may have been used, a million times. I'll never forget, years ago I went to Baptiste, the armourers in the UK, and the guy pulled out an Lee Enfield rifle. And it was just a casting, it was a rubber casting. And he said, look, I want to show you something. He took a pocket knife and he cut into the handle a little bit, and it had, and do you know the story of the Ford production plant in Detroit where they had a material called Fordite?
No.
So they created, and you can buy these, it's called Fordite. It's the layers of paint that built up on the floor in the Ford production plant, and over the years got compressed, and it has become it's not a mineral because it's dried paint, but basically you can Google it and look it up. It's beautiful. It has dozens and dozens of layers of paint in it that have built up, in some cases, over a century, and people make jewelry out of it.
Wow.
And it showed the progression of, this day they were painting them blue, this day they were painting them black, green, pink, purple, sky blue, all these different colors. The rifle was the same, and he showed me and he said, look how many times we've repainted this for different colors and different movies. And he said, I can't tell you how many movies this has been in because we didn't keep track of that kind of thing. And I'm led to believe that the Cylon sword is the same. I will say I have scoured all kinds of 60s, late 50s through early 70s Robin Hood movies, anything with a sword in it to try and find this sword.
Paul Rotter has come up, and one of our people that's online says the sword prop was used on Batman.
See, that would make sense. It would be something of the period that was, I need 6 rifles, a sword, a rubber shark, and a dinosaur head, and they would just get it delivered, and that.
Right.
It's like the shopping
and a
list
bottle of anything.
Yeah, it's like everybody's. Isn't that what my Trader Joe's list says every Friday? And that's where we are told it came from. If anybody owns one, I'd love to talk to them because I'd love to see it. And then the other question we are, I wouldn't say famous because I don't like saying that. I love making swords. We've done lots and lots of swords. We've been really lucky. I've managed to make some swords from things that aren't real. I got the privilege of making He-Man's sword from Masters of the Universe.
Ooh.
It's real. We do them as per blacksmith. This is full steel. You for legal reasons, I shall not suggest that you could go into battle with it, but because the boss isn't listening, you absolutely could. But we also make
House of the Dragon.
We also make House of the Dragon, but we also do stunt versions. So this is exactly the same thing in a dense foam, which when you look at it, it looks pretty real, but it is completely foam. So it's safe to take to a convention, and it's metallic.
Yeah, you couldn't take that on a convention.
Is treated. So my question to the fans is, what do you want? And I know everybody's going to have a different opinion. They're going to say both, but we'd love to know, would you prefer a more practical approach like this, or a crazy sword that, maybe, and certainly more expensive? The foam ones are about 1/5 of the cost of the metal ones.
Barry, is there a middle? Is there a compromise between the foam and the metal? Could it be made so that it's, sort of? I'm thinking, sort of like the prop itself, right? It's for show.
Yes.
And it's so could there be?
Yes, there could. I mean, there are other materials, ABS plastic, other things, and a lot of the time you see that on productions. The handle of a sword might be metal, but the blade is often a material. They use a material called duralumin. It's an aluminum alloy, so that if, when they're having a sword fight on camera, they accidentally hit the other person, it doesn't take their eye out, or they don't lose a limb. So there are other options. Now, as far as I know, and this is the question that I'd love to find out from the brain trust that we've got in front of us and listening and viewers, all of the Cylon swords were actual metal swords, as far as I know. There were not any
Wow.
stunt ones.
Wow.
Because we don't see that many of them. The reason I love the prop is that I remember them. I remembered them vividly. But when you actually go back and watch the show, they barely appear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird ones that it's stuck in your head. Dracula is my favorite example. Everybody remembers the Dracula medallion. Every Eastern European or European vampire that's appeared on camera ever since Bela Lugosi wears a medallion. Go back and watch the original Dracula again. He wears it for approximately 4 seconds in one scene.
Wow.
And you never see it again.
Wow.
But it is universally and intrinsically linked in all of our heads. If you ask, what's the classic Dracula? It's the Widow's Peak, the cape, the medallion, and then the rest is, whether or not they have fangs depends on whether they're Bela Lugosi or Christopher Lee. But all of them wear that blooming medallion, which actually he only wore for a fraction of a second.
Wow.
And the sword is kind of the same. Everybody remembers, Cylon sword, but the thing that we saw them carrying around all the time
was definitely their rifle.
Yep.
Sure.
And yes, we do want to do a big version of this if there's demand, and I will keep doing Battlestar Galactica stuff until nobody wants to buy it. And yes, there's going to be some other big things, and yes, there's going to be some items that you may or may not be able to put on your head.
Well, okay, so Barry, first thing is we've had Jean-Pierre Doliac on twice.
Mm-hmm.
And he's given us a lot of personal insights on all of that stuff. If you haven't spoken to him, I'm sure he might be able to give you some inkling, because he's
if you want, I can put you in touch with him.
Yeah,
that would be wonderful. Yes, because I would love to talk to who better to go to than the father of
Yes, absolutely. And he's very vocal about it. And we're, like I said, we're lucky to have him not once but twice. And he shared a lot of information, backstories, and the like. I also kind of wanted to put out the idea that I saw a friend of mine growing up, but we were in high school, graduating high school, I think. And here in the United States, there was the football helmets became collectors. They did a whole thing.
Right now.
So they were like about that big. Yeah,
made by Rydell, the company.
Yeah. And so I have always thought in the back of my head, wouldn't it be cool to have, because like having the 1-to-1 scale. Okay,
Great.
Granted, right? That's one thing. And to have for that, in that breath, I'd have to say the Pegasus helmet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which hasn't been right. Nobody. Yep. EFX or whatever didn't make that. Okay,
Yep.
But to have a smaller scale of the helmets,
affordable for most. I think you'll get more people when it comes to a little bit.
Oh,
more
heck
affordable.
yeah. I know Star Wars did it with the Stormtroopers, and then they sold them in a box where you could actually paint them. You could color them with markers, and people would make them. And so it was incredible. And if you were to be able to come up with, the Colonial Warrior helmets, and then the Cylon helmet, and who knows, Lucifer, and oh my God, like Boltar's helmet, like these, like about that big. Oh my God, that would be just
Lucifer. Like,
yeah.
If you made this,
Mm-hmm.
if you made this,
yeah.
I know there's at least one person that's going to buy it.
It's another favorite of mine, and I love the idea. We do have back at Master Replicas. We actually worked with Rydell to do scaled helmets because, as you say, the helmets, if we do them as fiberglass. And I know EFX did the Viper Pilot helmet, and they're not an easy or cheap thing to do. The development costs are. My boss would probably fall off the chair where he knows. I mean, they're eye blistering. They take a significant amount of expense, but they're really only ever going to appeal to a very small group of people. Most of our replicas, the BSG Blaster, the edition size is 1,000, and that's all they'll ever be. We won't go beyond that because I think that's probably the global demand. For helmets, it's going to be even less. It'll be 250 to 500 pieces.
And those are the one-to-one you're saying.
One-to-one, simply as you said, because of
Yeah.
cost and also size. Like that thing is
Right.
not tiny.
Right.
And we have this unofficial thing in the company. We have a spousal approval rating, and it goes from hell no, you're not bringing that into my house. So okay, and so a few little things are much easier to sneak in.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. So if so that's definitely something you got to bring back. The takeaway would be if you could make those smaller scaled, like a whole line of them, and
if
you
you're
would
doing
the same size of the rifle that you just had.
Yes, well, you could do them, quarter scale probably be about the right size because you can get enough detail. And the nice thing about that is, as I was saying, the Viper helmet, if you do it at 1-to-1, you have to basically just do the standard because there aren't enough people who want the Pegasus or
if you did the standard, just make it to where you can remove the eagle and drop the Pegasus.
The headpiece, yeah.
Then you just sell the Pegasus
that
piece.
May or
to
may
it.
not be something I'm playing around with. We'll see.
Barry, if I got to say anything in terms of pushing you in any direction, I would vote for the scaled down version of the helmets. And if you were to do it very much like what Star Wars did, I know that if it was a good price point, that you could get us to sign up in a membership thing, and we would commit to like buying the first 3, blind, and then any of the other ones. I mean, if you did like whatever. I mean, if the small scale Viper helmets, and then I don't know if you're gonna mix it up with the Cylon helmet, and then I mean Lucifer or whatever. Lucifer has
Cylon and Cylon. Yep.
Never been done before. That would be so
let's
freaking cool.
Let's put a pin in that because I give you my word that I will look into it and we will come back to IFB and ask the viewers. Maybe we have a
Yeah, we can throw a poll up.
I know which one we should start with, but it would be fun to kind of put it out there and say, hey, if you had a carte blanche. Our license extends to prop replicas. It extends to novelty items. So we can't at this point do the only differentiating weird bit where it gets strange is costume. So anything that's deemed as costume. So I can't do jackets. I can't do typically soft goods things. But anything else, if anybody's got any ideas or suggestions, again, I can't promise to make all of them because there may not be enough people and I may not be able to, I've got to make the money work. But we will listen to anyone and I'd love to hear ideas. I'd love to hear suggestions. I'll go back and watch this later and look at all the comments.
We got a couple here. We got the helmets, the score, yes. The communicators, the handheld. I don't know. That'd be a tough one to. Not a lot of people remember that, but the Languatron.
I had a discussion with a guy and I love the Languatron, but we can't find any. Again, no one knows what happened to the original prop, and there is almost no reference of it. But I will concede that the Languatron might be the thing we do at the end when we've run out of all the other things to do, because it's right up there in esoteric land.
Yeah. Well, the old calculators on the leg.
It is I think it was built around an old calculator.
The TI calculators.
Yep. Oh, look at
that. And I was customizing it, haven't finished it, but there you go.
There we go. Ha. Has that got sounds and lights?
Yeah, it's got lights. I haven't finished it.
Hey, we may have to hire you as a prototyper.
I did.
Well, we definitely know somebody we could do that. Mediocre modelers.
Oh, we definitely have somebody.
Hey, and again, that offer stands if people. Oh, look.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm going to secure that in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And yeah. But there's obviously depends on how much time. But I found one of these, the official leg. Notepad from the the 70s era, and then I was able to find the calculators.
Notepad, and then
Where did you find those on eBay? Or?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Keep watching. This is like the boots. The CD boots. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
boots.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Trust me, people buy those things and just destroyed, and they'll just rebuild them.
I've been looking into those because there's some fascinating stuff there. It's it's fun, and we are looking at vehicles. I have had the pleasure, you probably either know him or you're associated with him, but Charles Adams, he's been
What?
helping me. We don't have any plans yet, and there's nothing I can reveal. But we do. If anybody looks on our site, they'll see we have been for many years trying to build up our domestic manufacturing such that it is. Unfortunately, the type of products we make, it's almost impossible to make them here in the US, because the knowledge base just doesn't exist. You know, there's plenty of guys who can 3D print two or three in their garage, but the difference between making two or three and making 500 to consumer standards and passing all the relevant testing and everything else, it's chalk and cheese, if that's not too British an expression. So it's difficult, but model making is one area that we do still excel at, and we do individual one-of-a-kind models that are built to commission for Star Trek, and we are looking at the viability of doing that and potentially something a little more open to the general public, because I do realize those models are, I'll never even own one. They're for a real specialist group of people, but hey, they're really fun to work on. They're something else.
I see the you've got the. It just reminded me you have the gear shift from Goldfinger.
Yes.
That would,
yeah, we do a lot of
talk
Bond
about
things.
another thing would be the handle from the Viper.
From the
Yes.
Viper. That would be
Joystick.
cool.
And
Oh,
we
yeah.
do have a line of, I don't have any to hand. We do have a line of what we call entry level props, which are more smaller handheld things. And I am working on one for BSG, which people will probably be able to guess, but it's something you'll actually be able to play with. I'll leave that there. You can probably guess what it is, but that one will hopefully be something we have for the summer convention season as well, if we can get some of the production issues sorted out. There's something of a log jam in production right now, but hey, we'll work on it. Ooh, it's like the BSG museum right here.
All right, Barry. So I got something to show you. These kind of showed up at conventions, like in 79, 80, maybe 81. And there were a lot of these things.
Ooh,
Yep, that's right.
And
That and the Adama necklace. The
right, so
Adamas.
yeah.
yes.
I wonder, did Maggie Shipka make that? I wonder.
So
She was the go-to jewelry lady in Hollywood for like 40 years,
Oh
and
wow.
it kind of looks like her work. I'll-
so I just got this one a couple years back. I don't know how old this one is. I don't
Pete,
think
I'm gonna
this
do the big
is
screen here. Hang on,
it
Pete.
looks yeah. This is not 3D printed.
it's
So
resin, I would
yeah, it's
imagine.
resin.
Yeah.
So it might be one of the ones that I had seen originally at the con, back in the day. That I didn't pick it up. I just didn't. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to. What am I going to do with one of these? I didn't have the get up then. And then a couple years ago, once we started doing IFB, I was scouring and I
Mm.
caught this. And I mean, not to say that this might be something that you guys would do, but there are things, there
Oh
are
yeah, no,
like,
there are lots of things. I love that, and it is one. And I've only seen screenshots of the original prop. I haven't seen one like that in
Yeah.
in the flesh. It's
Yeah.
pretty good. It looks. I'd
Yeah,
have
it
to,
looks cool.
comparing it, it looks pretty damn accurate. I would say that is either
Yeah.
copied directly from an original or certainly something close to it. Are they train wheels on there? I bet you they are.
Oh, they look like it.
From
Yeah.
like an old locomotive engine.
See, I get it.
Yeah, I
There you
think
go.
they are.
Yep,
Either that or
they
they're the
are.
hubcaps out of cars. Monogram, possibly
Yep.
a monogram car, but either one.
Possible.
I love finding out the archaeological or historical, behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
But that one I love because that would fit perfectly. Anyone who's seen our Star Trek stuff knows we do things in magnetic gift flap boxes, so the object itself is sort of presented, so you've got something you can look at. If that's
Yeah.
something everybody else likes, then yeah, I'll definitely add that to my list because I love that. And we do a lot of metal work, so I could actually do that die cast in metal, so it would have some heft to it.
There's there's Adama's medallion,
Mhm.
right? And that's another really good one that hasn't really nobody's ever made it.
Yeah.
It's there's fans that have made them, and I don't know. I just there's things again. there's the possibilities, and we're just strictly talking Battlestar Galactica. But if I had a wish and I was again to earworm you, it would be those. What is it? One, I don't know, one quarter,
One
whatever
quarter, or
scale.
roughly, well, I like to use the phrase "fit the box" scale, so about that big.
Yeah, it's
I don't
yeah,
think anyone
those
cares the exact scale.
those helmets, man. Oh my God, that would be so cool because you
Well,
know,
let's make them, and then we'll be the find out the first person to put one on a cat and send a picture. They get a prize.
there you go. Winner, 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 chicken dinner.
I wanted to do them for He-Man. I wanted to actually do the battle cat armor that you could put on a cat, but the people at Mattel did not agree with my. Just like, what drugs is he smoking?
No, that's funny. Yeah, Deg, I think I picked this up again. I wouldn't be surprised. There is one guy that's kind of famous. Barry, I'm sure you've heard of Marco Enterprises.
Yes, I have. Yes.
So I don't know. This could be a Marco. I don't know. The person that sold it didn't know anything about where it came from. And I swooped in and got it for a really good price. And it's mint. It was a one of. I'm thinking it might be one of those that were made from back in the day for the
Mm-hmm.
conventions. And Marco was making. He made
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of that stuff.
yeah. He did that. He did Star Trek. I mean, there was, you know, nature abhors a vacuum, and back then there was no collectibles market. It was toys, and that was only ever what the current Christmas hit toy was.
Right.
So fans filled the niche. I mean, even again, bring up Star Trek, but even Roddenberry, they ran a company selling.
Lincoln.
Yeah,
Lincoln
Lincoln
Enterprises.
Enterprise was literally Magel's side hustle because they realized there was a void that needed to be filled, and we've come a long way now, and everything is way much more complicated. It would have been nice back in the day. I got into this business in the early 90s, late 80s, and it was much easier then. But yeah, from those little acorns, lots of things. There we go.
Majel talks about the actual Lincoln Enterprises was created. They actually bought it, so the company had
Yeah,
existed beforehand, and
yeah.
they bought it to handle all of the fan mail. And when they kind of wrapped up the whole fan writing stuff and streamlined it, they used Lincoln Enterprise to then sell products.
Hmm.
And I met her at the Pasadena convention many years ago in the 90s. It was like I think 95 or so. And she actually I talked to her a little bit about Lincoln Enterprises, and we had a nice little discussion on what it was all about and the like. So it was a little bit close to the interview that we did. I brought up at a past show, but yeah, they sold a lot
Yeah.
of slide, like the 35 millimeter version of the shows. They would cut
Hmm.
those up, and sometimes there were clips from what is like outtakes. So
Yep.
there were outtakes that nobody had ever seen and have been lost that they would sell, and like everybody would buy them like five for $1 or whatever. And I have some of those as well. But all right, so look, Star Trek, Battlestar. Do you guys do Star Wars or no?
No, we used to, but now we come out in hives every time anybody mentions it. No, we did it, and we've been there, and it's now a Disney property, and we maybe one day, but we do like to have fun doing this, and it's Disney is not normally synonymous with fun.
It's a
It's big
shame.
business, and it's very
Yeah,
corporate,
right.
and they want demands that usually just can't be met because the industry is still a small industry. It's still fairly niche. We are we're not a huge, massive, in comparison to what they make on a licensing deal for a toaster or for Pop Tarts or for socks. It's we're the red-headed stepchildren and then some in the collectibles industry. And colleagues and friends of ours are already handling the Star Wars universe really well. So we'll leave them to it. There's plenty of room. They can stay in their lane and we'll stay with what we've got. But pretty much everything else, if it's a pop culture thing, we either do it or we've done it. and we're always looking for more and new ideas, and we don't know everything, far from it. And it is hard sometimes. You get really enthusiastic about the things that you fall in love with personally, but you find out there's only other 6 people out there in the world who want it.
That's like this one.
I got one
Yes,
for you.
yeah. Well, the founder of our company, Jordan, his big passion is the Green Hornet. He grew up with it, he loved it, and we've done it with dedication for almost over a decade. But it's not a hugely popular brand, unfortunately. Sadly, a lot of the fans are literally no longer with us. They have all literally died out, and that is a problem that happens. And that's something I really am passionate about, is bringing. And that's been a fantastic experience with Battlestar Galactica. Last year at Comic-Con, I had kids in their 20s coming up to me telling me how much they love Battlestar Galactica. And I'm like, wait, wow. You weren't even born when you weren't old enough when the remakes came out. But wow. You're telling me you love, Dirk Benedict's Starbuck as well. And that's great, because our business at the end of the day is nostalgia. And, yes. And when there are none of us left to be nostalgic, yes. It turns into yes. a dead brand. And I'm right. glad that isn't happening with Battlestar. It's because it can happen frighteningly quickly. There are several great properties that now are, maybe someone will bring them back one day, but I doubtful. I mean, nothing's ever truly dead in Hollywood, but
I'll tell you, there's a very strong fan group and support for Rollerball. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I noticed that some of the fans are coming out with commemorative, the actual ball that yep. was. I was like, what? That's really cool. Who would have thought that?
Somebody told me the other day. They said, we're actually living in Rollerball right now.
Just about either that or Westworld.
Future world.
Yeah. Future world. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
it is fun though to see, and when you go to shows and you go to conventions, and I do. We're a small company, and I don't want to use that as an excuse, but there are 2 of us who do product development. There's me and one other guy, and that's it. There's no big army of people. It's just me sitting here in the San Francisco Bay Area toiling away. But one of my great things is when I get to chat with a fan who just wants to tell me about stuff, and I do try and do it as much as I can. So doing stuff like this is a real pleasure, because I'm listening to every word, and I'm going to read the comments, because it makes me confident that I'm not crazy. There are other people out there like me who feel the same way. It's very nice.
You'd be pleasantly surprised. Now look, you've seen how going to some of the cons, it gravitates, right? And you'll see there's a lot of interest in the anime stuff, mm-hmm. yeah. and that's great. Now, I think it's important that we kind of put everything into context, right? Context is for kings. Yes. So the idea that we have a show that we are focused on 70s and 80s because mm-hmm. we grew up in it, yeah. but we are Battlestar Galactica centric. And Barry, the reason is there are actual actors from Star Trek that do their own video casting. Mm-hmm. So mm-hmm. why would we try to compete with them and all the other podcasters that can do Star Wars better? Same with Star Trek, right? I mean, you have actors that do their... So that's been done. We're fans. We like all sci-fi. Not a problem. However, there is a fandom. And it's sometimes I think it's kind of hard to gauge, our generation and the fans that represent like Battlestar. When you go to the con and, we've been... Last 3 years, we've been doing the circuit, and we've gone from West Coast all the way to East Coast, and we've seen, where it all goes. Mm-hmm, and mm-hmm. it's predominantly all anime.
Not our age category.
Yeah. And you can't.
We feel left out. Really do.
Well, and it's a family, and I'm corny and schmaltzy, but what is the thing when you walk into a con, you feel at home?
Yes, you do.
And if you
100%.
don't, yeah. and forgive me if I'm going to use a colourful Anglo-Saxon expression, but these people can sniff a bullshitter at 100 yards.
Yes.
And if you don't know, and we don't make anime stuff because I can't lie and pretend that
Right.
I get it because
Yeah.
it wasn't something that was, I can make anything, sure, but then I would just be churning out a thing.
Right.
Everything we make has some kind of personal connection and we feel about it, and then we can express that. But
Right.
if you're just churning out product, then I might as well be making tortilla chips because I'm not getting rich doing this. I'm doing it because I love it. And if I don't love it, then why would I try? And there is a place for that. And those people, there are anime conventions. I have been to them for research to look. I've got teenage kids or 20-year-old kids, and they adore it. And they're like, "Oh, Dad, you're so old and you're so boomer, and you've got to be into
Yep.
this." And I watch it, and I'm like, I see the appeal, and
Yeah.
I'm delighted that
Hmm.
maybe 20 years from now, somebody will make a business playing on the nostalgia of that, and you'll keep it going.
Yeah.
But I can't do it because I would look like a fraud. I
Right.
mean, I
Yeah.
can't.
I can't count. I'm so frustrated going to cons. I mean, I'm getting ready to go to a con this weekend. Awesome con here in DC. I'll be on
Yeah.
Saturday for sure. We have we have a press thing, and we actually go and we love to interview the fans, and we'll see some people in there that that are either our age category or are repping our age category,
Yeah.
the shows that we've done. I've met a number of people. I think last year, the year before last, we found a younger lady who did a fantastic costume for Queen. I'm going to mess it up, from Flash Gordon. Queen.
Oh, a princess.
Princess
Yes, from the
Ardala,
movie or from the show?
from the movie.
From the
Yes, she had redone this thing. It was beautiful. We have
That's a
picture of it
great
on
costume as well.
but you find some people that have that piece, those pieces of it. But 90% of the time, if you go around to all the booths looking for something to buy,
Hmm.
that is 70s Battlestar Galactica. It's Planet of the Apes. It's
Well, that,
Logan's Run. It's any of the things that us who have worked a long time in our lives and have moved up in the world and probably have the money for some of these things.
Yep.
All right, it's nobody's buying or making anything for us.
no,
And
well, it's
I don't
because
even
it
want
comes
to.
down.
Half the time, I don't even like going to cons anymore because I don't recognize any of the people playing anything there.
Yeah.
I don't recognize any of the cosplay and the actors they invite in. I don't know any of these people. 90% of the people I don't know, and if they are, they're always Star Wars or there's something like that.
I mean,
it's
the
very
nice thing
difficult.
I've noticed in recent, certainly in the last couple of years, we do seem to be going away from the global hyper megacon that we do exhibit in San Diego, and it is one of the biggest. But I love the regional shows. I love the small ones in the airport Hilton because they are the one where you can sit and chat with, you
Yeah,
know, because you don't want to line up for 5 hours to talk to someone who's going to give you 28 seconds of their time because that's all they can give you because they got 400 other people behind them.
behind you.
I ran a Star Wars convention for Lucasfilm many years ago in another, and I know, I mean, it nearly killed me. I know what goes into it. So putting on a show is a massive undertaking, but it is great that we do seem to be swinging back in that direction of maybe I'd call them boutique shows, maybe a little bit more specialist, and that is good because these one sort of catch-all megacon things they can't catch
Yeah.
all, and you do feel like you're.
Yeah, and they're all
You
set
need
for
to
the
be
younger crowd, and I'm not,
and,
I'm
and the
not going to
money
go
is the
anymore.
problem. You can't drop. You want to just go to a con. You don't want to have to spend $800 to get there and pay for a
Yeah.
hotel and everything else. And
Yeah, I know.
I don't know anybody who can afford that on a weekly basis. I can't.
No.
And the money is the problem too. That's the reason you don't see the product and we love them to death, and they are our partners, and we do. I can't say enough about people like Universal and Warner Brothers who allow us to do this because this is their property, but it is a business, and it would frustrate people. I don't want to get into a business discussion, but the money sometimes is you go to them and you say, I want to make this, and the ask from them is like, are you serious? Wow, let me just sit down and then I'll pass out, and when I come to we can find out if you were kidding. And that's the reason, because everybody thinks that their property is the next big thing,
Yep.
and every single little bit of property has become gone are the days when you could do handshake deals and you could say, hey, I want to play in this arena, and it's very difficult to sometimes make the math work, because if you've got a sell $2 million worth of stuff to make back a licensing, because you make a promise, you offer a guarantee of how much you're going to sell over the term of a license, whether you sell anything or not. And so if you commit to a huge guarantee, you better hit it. And it can be very difficult, nigh on impossible. There's nothing more heartbreaking than to make a product, you put it out there, you're proud of it, and you sell 50 of them. And then you go, oh, now what?
Wow.
It can be tricky. But that so far is not, we do have to thank the BSG fans for turning up and committing. And I do realize that $500 is a lot of money for a blaster. But everybody who's come on the journey with us, thank you. It does mean something. And it's always fun because a lot of people want to tell you how much you got wrong and how much you got right. And that's fine, because I'm going to get it wrong, because it's my interpretation. I'm a forger. The real talent behind this were the guys that made the first props.
Right.
And they probably made them on a budget of nothing. They were probably told, I need 7 of these by Friday. And they jumped through hoops, and they were under horrendous pressure. And nobody was expecting them to come back to them 30, 40 years later and go, oh, what did you use for this? And how did you do that? I mean, the amount of talented prop guys I talk to who look at me like, they're like, what? I don't remember. I didn't think it was just a job, I wasn't expecting people to come back to me.
Pull something out.
Yeah. And then other times you'll be amazed. You get somebody who goes, oh yeah, let me hold you. Just this, Bear Burge from Star Trek just sent me a box. He's a wealth of amazing information and talent, and it's great when you get to talk to those people. So let's see if we can track down some information on the Cylon sword, because that would be a real fun one. Cool. And we can say, we make little prop booklets. We'll put in it, thanks to the IFB crowd who helped us, because why not? I mean, we are all the same, and we're all in the same boat, and it is, like I said, it's a family, and maybe a dysfunctional one, and maybe got a weird uncle who says inappropriate things at Thanksgiving, but hey, it's a family.
So Barry, there was a company. You got to know this. There was a company not too long ago that actually remade buckles. Actually, two separate companies that made the buckles for the Colonial jackets.
Did Novos ever do them?
Anavos did the jackets.
And no, they did with the jackets.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was a whole
a
whole fiasco. But there were two separate companies. One of them made exact replicas, and of course they sold out. And then there was another company that did. They made metal buckles.
But
they were yeah, in some ways they were better. I still think the original ones are the ones to go with.
This is an interesting question as well, and it's one to ask the gang. When you're making a prop replica, there is always a degree of, with the BSG blaster, one of the things that I made the choice to do, and it was on me. And if you don't like it, I'm the one to blame. I cleaned it up. I made it look. When I saw it on screen, I perceived it in a certain way. And when I see it on screen still, I see it in a certain way. I don't notice that there's a wire coming out the bottom, going up Dirk Benedict's arm.
Right.
I don't notice that there's bits hanging off of it and it's got a dirty, great big hole in one side and various other things. Because that wasn't what nobody expected anyone to sit there with a 4K TV and, zoom in and look at the exact precise details and count the number of,
ribs that are on the front end of it. Yeah.
Right. There is always this weird, some people in the prop replica audience want it warts and all, and they want it with all the flaws and the imperfections, and most people don't. And so it's always a real problem where we have to sit there and decide, should we straighten this thing up? Should we fix this? Should we fix that? And we usually have to arrive at a decision, because if we spend our time, we'll just debate it into eternity. It will never get done. So that is one of the questions is, for the average BSG fan, do they like what we're doing? Or is it, do you absolutely hate it? And do you want us to go back to the, if there's a dent in it, I want the dent. If it was uneven, do I want it uneven? Because we would like to know, because I'm making these choices purely as a person. But, I might be wrong. And so, a good example is some of the helmets, the Cylon helmets. If you've seen one close up, they're lopsided. They've got duct tape running down the middle.
Yep.
They're not the greatest. So if we do that, I will probably, because I'm thinking of people who want to put it in their house as a museum piece and look at it day in, day out, day in, day out. And I remember an apocryphal story years ago, not apocryphal, but we worked on the Vader helmet at Master Replicas, and the original Vader helmet has a degree of asymmetry, and it's got some problems and issues that you just don't notice until you look at it day after day after day after day. And everybody wanted it with all the flaws, and everybody said, I want it with all the flaws, and Master Replicas made it with all the flaws, and it didn't sell that well. Well, it did okay. Then they did a cleaned up version, and it outsold the other one 6-1.
Wow.
Well, it looks like a number of our audience is chiming in. Personally, I like mine factory fresh, mediocre modeler. R.D. Moreno says, no, we like it cleaner. Deg says, props are always amazing to see what they are, but I'm in the camp I want to see a remastered, the way it was meant to be.
Yeah, or the intention of the prop master or the producer, or, and my argument is, if you're a talented model maker and you enjoy tinkering, weather it up yourself. Take an X-Acto knife to it and cut it up a little bit, and if you want it with some warts on it, add the warts. It's much easier to put the warts in than it is to take them out.
Take them out, yeah. Wow, so cool. Barry, do you have there's got to be a sign up, right, for newsletters?
Yes, so we do. If people go to our either our social media, so we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, it's Factory Ent, Factory ENT, or on our website. In the very bottom corner of every page is a little sign up for a newsletter. Please come there, sign up.
Right here.
If anybody wants to email me directly, please reach out to the guys at IB and IFB, and they'll give you my details by all means with my blessing. Send it to whomever you want. I just don't want to shout it out on the internet, because then I'll get bombarded by weird Russian bots and ladies who want me to inherit their uncle's millions.
Yes, that's exactly right. All right, cool.
Here's some ones I see that you don't have anything for. That's Knight Rider.
No, not at the moment. We have a Tinto, actually. We do have a lunchbox, but I believe we've sold out of the Knight Rider lunchbox. But Knight Rider is one we are working on.
My other favorite that I don't see that you have here I don't see anything for is, where did it go? There it is. They Live.
Yeah, again, we had some statues and a lunchbox. We've sold out, and we're probably coming to the end of the They Live. I don't know that we'll do anything new. We had fun with
Harry
it. It's a personal
Potter,
favorite of mine.
Iron Giant.
There's a lot of stuff. Sometimes too much.
Tremors.
So Gary,
Ultraman.
Barry, since we're with fans here, we've kind of set our feet down in terms of our commitment to giving back to the fans in a way like you did, but we actually are finishing up our fan film called The Stranded Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't seen our award-winning trailer, I will send you a link. It's won 12 festivals worldwide, and one of the goals was to showcase what the fandom, Battlestar Galactica fandom, can do, and to get it out, and to show it to other sci-fi fans, younger fans, not only the hardcore, but I think you would probably enjoy it.
I would love to see it, and please send me the links to if we can. I'll try and get our social media guys to put it up. I will say that fan films exist in a strange place.
Oh yes, they do.
Yeah, we're very familiar.
As you probably know,
we're
sort of officially supposed to tolerate them. I'd love to get involved in some, but I'll get sued to death and probably lose a license.
Yeah. Well, no,
understood.
Understood. We did. I'll tell you that one of the companies that made those buckles, they were very, very nice to us in terms of IFB, and we were able to. They gave us a discount code, and so we were able to buy a tremendous amount of those buckles and put those on.
We swapped those out on these crappy Chinese.
Yeah, the Chinese, jackets, and so, Yeah, and
A
you'll get a
discount code we can definitely do. I will talk to my IT guys in the morning,
Ooh.
and I will give you a unique one that you can put out. I wish
excellent.
I could give. I should have
Wow.
thought of this in advance, but I will definitely get one that you
That'd
can
be
give
cool.
out to all the other IFB members, and
You,
with my
Pete,
thanks,
yeah,
because that
Pete,
we can do for
Pete,
sure.
you know what I just thought of? The one thing that nobody can ever get a hold of, and when it does hit, I've got it on my eBay watch list like it's going out of style. But the one thing that most of the colonial warriors out there, other than a blaster, other than a jacket, those kind of things are mandatory. It's the watch.
The watch.
You
Oh,
cannot find
that's
a
right.
Hughes aircraft
Yes,
watch.
Are they
yes,
still?
Nope.
So this
They
is
don't
one
even
that I have
exist
to.
anymore.
Good, because this is the one, having done Bond stuff.
yeah,
The problem with, I've been doing Bond for many, many years. I used to work at Corgi before this,
cool.
way, way, way long ago. Um, the problem with a lot of the Bond stuff, if it's a found object, you can't make a replica of it, because then you border on the realms of forgery, and particularly with watches. You know, I'd love to do a Red Grant Garrot watch, but I can't, because the Swiss watch company, even though they don't exist, somebody still owns the trademark. And again, if you're making something in your garage and you're 3D printing it,
Yeah.
if somebody comes after you, you're going to get a cease and desist. But because we're a business, we have a big target on our
Sued.
head. And
Yeah.
so
Right.
I'd have to watch to see if anybody owns the Hughes trademark, because you have some of
It's
these
the Hughes
weird.
Aircraft Company was the name of it.
I would imagine it's probably. I mean, we had, when we did the Golden Gun from James Bond, we had no end of problems because they were Calibri parts, some of them, and Calibri had been in and out of business I don't know how many times, and they were in one of their hiatuses. They still are, I believe. I think Dunhill owns the rights, and we couldn't put a Calibri logo on the product because they just wouldn't give us permission. They just said no. They didn't want it there. So the watch, I had assumed it was just a found object that couldn't be replicated. But if
Yeah,
it is
this
something that,
yeah, Hughes Aircraft Company. We cannot find them, and if you do,
Yeah,
the last
it's
time
near
I saw it come up
impossible.
on last time I saw one come up on eBay, a broken one not working. Yep, a broken one not working was like $800.
whew,
$400 to $800 is what it normally goes for, and
a vintage
it depends
watch
on the
from the
colors too,
70s.
because there's gold and there's silver.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I
Pete's
will
got
look into it.
Pete's
I
got
don't
the,
know.
yeah.
I need to check, and I need to do some investigation. But if there's a clear runway, I'll definitely look at it, because we have done watches before, and tankards and drinking vessels. Yes, we love those too. We've done really well with those in
The
the
only
past.
thing with that tankard is it's still made. The
Yes.
tankard is made. The outside, the eagle is not.
I
But
don't
the tankard is
believe.
still made by Tavern. It's
mine's
the
not-
Tavern line.
yeah.
It's something.
The
pewter.
shape is a traditional sort of tankard.
Yeah.
So that
I own
shouldn't be an
a
issue.
actual screen used one of those.
I have to. This is one where if we make it, it'll say on the box, "Not for drinking," and that's not because it's poisonous. That's because that means it makes it a prop replica, and I don't have to pay for a license. Sometimes
Perfect.
people often say, "Why does it say not for wear?" Well, that's why.
Yep.
The lawyers ruin everything.
Well, there you go, Kim. Kim brought it up, and I reached over and grabbed one of my two that I have. So there's an idea for you. I mean, if you could,
I should have come to you guys a
Pete.
year ago.
Yeah.
I should have come to you guys 2 years ago. It would have saved me a lot of thinking.
Yeah, here you go.
Oh,
Pete.
yeah,
Here's
I'm,
another
I'm
piece.
so
that we
glad
found.
that you reached out, because this is, sometimes you get so focused on what you're doing, and you sort of try to look at the organizations that exist, and then you get swamped with, what do you not have?
a Lucifer
Mine's a
head.
set to go.
List.
set to go, baby. Right
That's
there.
brilliant.
Are you ready? Because I am going to send this right over to Tipsy's house, and it's going to detonate.
Is that a magazine from a gun?
Yes,
They built
that's
that one?
originally
Yes.
it was originally a magazine from a an
M16.
And from M16. Yeah.
M16. That's
God, so many
this was
parts
made by a
from an
mediocre
M16.
modeler.
Mediocre Modeler made this, and so it's 3D cast and put on
really
the
is-
lights
it is
for
just-
us, and it's all
It's just a
Well, they are far
standard
from
mag.
mediocre, I'll say that.
There you go. Shout out to Mediocre Modeler. Thank you, Mediocre Modeler, for hooking us up back in
Yeah, he's
a
also
couple
the
of
one
years
that
ago.
did
Yeah.
the props for our movie.
Oh
So
yeah.
Well, maybe we need to talk to him too, because I'm always interested, and I would love. My dream is to have a group of 3 or 4 people who can make this kind of stuff domestically for us here in the US. That dream becomes ever more necessary every day as the tariffs
Yeah, really, yeah.
increase. And it's not through want of trying. I just can't find the people who can be relied on to make 100 pieces of something. So, hey, if you're out there, drop me a line, because
Yep.
I got work for you. I can keep you busy forever. I got about 60 projects I'm working on right now.
Mediocre Modeler's like, woo!
Uh, Barry, we need to help support what you're doing for the fans. So we want to make sure that we have an open line. You know, you got to keep us in the loop.
Yeah, no, I will.
We
Absolutely.
we're here for you. The fans, you know, we've been blessed, Barry. We've been blessed, and it was a sort of it's kind of strange how this all happened, but it was all from the love of Battlestar Galactica. We were supposed to go to AllCon, and COVID hit, it canceled, and you know, Tipsy Toaster, he convinced me to do this show, and we're up and running 5 years now. We've had some of our episodes have over 30, almost 40,000 viewership, and we have a solid base of fans. We have 36,000 registered fans. And you know, we've been to conventions, we've done a lot of stuff. You know, that we told you the fan film is almost done, but the trailer itself is a winning, internationally winning festival trailer that we put together. It was a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. It will be more, even more once it comes out, and we want to
It's a dream
entertain
come
you with
true, yeah.
that. Yeah, it's a
It is
dream come true
amazing
for
what
us.
you can do now with technology,
Oh yeah,
what you can achieve, which would have just been even. I mean, even some of the professional production companies would have dreamed of it, and it is.
absolutely.
I never cease to be floored by people who show me something, and I'm like, "Where's this from?" And they're like, "We made it," and
Yep.
it's the passion, the commitment is outstanding. I mean, it really is.
And
Um,
you match that by actually, you know, pushing these products out. And we know, so this is a big to do with us, right? It's we always discuss this, it always gets brought up. When a fan is involved, it always shows. You're a fan and
I
it
don't think
shows.
I don't think you can do it any other way. It
Well,
doesn't
you'd be
work. I mean, people
surprised.
try, but then why? Why would you do that? It's like, it's like,
It's for the money, you know,
yeah,
it's
but
purely for, you know, capitalism, and it doesn't work. In the end, it won't work right.
if they're in the collectibles industry for the money, then they're already crazy. So
Mm.
we do this for the love of it. I'd make way more money if I had a McDonald's franchise.
Oh, absolutely. But it, you know what, Barry, it bleeds into everything, everything related to the industry, the whole, you know, the bigger picture. You
It's
know, you'll have like you've run into them, you know, the producers,
Yeah.
the executives that don't know anything other than what they know,
Well, I've
right? They're
always
not
said
fans.
it's a sickness, and unless you have the sickness, you won't
Yes.
get it. You
Yes,
have to
that's
have the
right.
sickness to
That's
get
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a
Get
good
down with the
sickness. It's
sickness.
not a bad sickness.
Yes. And you know what? It's and you see that there is these, like you talked about, the grandfather of all, which is, you know, the most successful franchise is Star Trek,
Hmm.
right? It's
Hmm.
it's 58 years old, going
Yep.
strong and continuing forward. Um, you know, it's touched people, and how many people have been able to say, oh, Star Trek influenced me to become an engineer,
Oh, I
a
know.
pilot, a
We
this,
do
a
the
that,
medical
right?
tricorder, and the amount
Right.
of people who've come to me at shows and said, "I became a doctor because of this," and it's like you just stand there and you go, "Wow, that's
Mhm.
amazing! It's brilliant." And you
Right.
meet so many people who've told similar stories, and it doesn't matter if you've achieved something just because of it. Star Trek made me feel happy, or
Yeah.
Battlestar maybe it changed my
Yeah.
life in a small way
Exactly.
because it taught me, this or that. Or it's amazing how these things have become more than the sum of their parts. It was never an intention, I'm pretty sure of it, but it just
Yep.
and that's when it's forced, and when they try to create false fandom and false hype. It just stinks like rotten fish, and it's like,
Yes.
you know,
Yep.
we're not as dumb as you think we are. We're not, and I have heard it. You know, I have been
Yep.
in meetings where they refer to us as, you know, the fans, and it's not a pleasant way that the fans are referred to.
Yes.
It's you know, the fans, and it's like, well, these are the guys that, you know, without us, good luck.
There would be nothing.
No.
There would be nothing.
No.
And to keep avoiding us and to keep, ignoring us is just silly. But we're here for you. We appreciate what you're doing. Obviously we're all, collectors of one degree or another, and we want to be a part of this. We love it, and we look forward to having you come back, even if it's, you could
just
do an
come and
exclusive or
talk some cool stuff.
It'll be my honor. I'll come back and talk to you anytime you want, as long as you don't get fed up with me.
We didn't get the real one. The one big question we always ask our what's the favorite fandom, and of course, what fandom license do you not have that you would want?
Yeah.
So your favorite fandom, what brought you into what makes you what made you a geek like us?
I have been very lucky, and I have, they say never meet your heroes. That's not true. When I look back and see who I've met and who I've been able to sit in a room with and talk as just like a normal person, it does astound me. So I have done most of them. I've been super lucky. I continue to be super lucky with Star Wars. Battlestar is one of my dream projects. I got to be the guy that made a real He-Man sword and a real Thundercat sword, and I'm not boasting. This is from the heart. So there's not many left, but there is one. Before I die, I will make a Krull glaive, and everybody went, Krull?
Yes, Krull.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So that's the last one on the list.
It's somebody. It's out there. Somebody claimed, I saw on social media, somebody was making one or made
There've been a
one
few. There've been a few fan projects, and the real prop finally surfaced. I think either last year or the year before. And my friends at Prop Store had it, and I did get a chance to look at it, and it is everything you imagine. It does work.
Oh, cool.
The problem with the Krull glaive is he's inherently dangerous.
Oh yeah.
The weird thing about it is no one knows who owns it. It's the unicorn in licensing that at the moment, as I say, in 25 years, I haven't found anybody who actually knows whether or not they own the rights to it, because I believe the film didn't make any money and it went bankrupt, and then the various people who own the bankruptcy have passed it on. So it's somewhere
Really?
somebody knows. But one day, but again, that's probably going to be me and about 15 other people who want that. But just because I can't, I want to do it.
That's cool.
But everything else, I've had and I'm doing it every day. I get to go, wow, I'm making this, and it's fun. But that one just holds a sticky place in my heart, because again, the movie was one that hit me at the right time. Is it a great movie? No, but
it's a good movie. It's a good cult movie. Oh my God, I saw it in the movies. It was great.
Yep. And
I own it now. I mean, I got it off of Amazon, so I actually own it now. So
once I do Krull, then I'll do Beastmaster's sword, because there's a whole area there where I grew up in the same time, and then when I was in college, I worked in one of the early video rental stores, so I got to watch a lot of rubbish and enjoy it.
Some things that I love that you don't get to see much. Of course, there's Defiance, which was one of my favorites, and I think there wasn't enough stuff off of Defiance that you could ever buy. But
nothing, is there? I don't
even know
at all.
Deg would probably know who owns the thing for that. I own a number of the props from that movie. They have a sword, but nobody's gonna want that.
Oh,
but
wow.
The one I think has been talked about getting a remake. We've almost had the remake, but it's been back and forth as much with the original IP owner and everything else. Has been Logan's Run.
Yes, I believe it.
The sleeper, the gun, the
Sandman's
tracker,
gun.
the Ankh.
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
On again, off again. There was going to be a TV show, then it was going to be a movie, then it was back to a TV show, and then right now I'm not sure where it is. And that's an interesting one, because the original props run on acetylene.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they are even.
Cool.
I don't
They're
even know.
dangerous.
Well, yeah, they'd have to have a hell of a liability warning on them. And there are some amazing fan made ones that
Yes.
actually work, and they're gorgeous. But yeah, they're not for the kiddies. That one, you got to be careful with those.
Cigarette
And
lighter. I'm
I've
on
heard
fire.
stories of on set. The actors were not primed to expect these things to explode in their hand, and so the sort of not shock, but the reaction you see is 100% genuine because the prop masters didn't warn them, and they were like, "Oh, let's film this and see what happens." They did the same with when you see Will Smith with the noisy cricket in Men in Black, which we also
Yep.
do. They had an explosive squib in it, and they didn't tell him, and it's tiny. And they also had him on a harness, and when he pulls the trigger, it goes bang, and the look on his face is 100% genuine because
Oh
he
wow,
was not
that's cool.
expecting this thing to nearly take his hand off, but it worked. And that
Wow.
reaction you got, yeah, Logan's Run. I mean, there's so many good ones, and the nice thing is, a lot of these things that were lost to time have been uncovered. And we do have to thank companies like Funko with their Funko Pops who have dug
Oh
in
yes,
and
the
picked
movie,
out these
TV
licenses
show,
that
the
studios,
game. Yep.
well, the studios suddenly remember, oh yeah, we own that. And because you laugh, but it isn't important usually to them because they're usually on their latest big thing that's a big ticket, and a show that maybe was 40, 50 years old or 20 years old even, or even 10 years old. They're like, nobody'd be interested in that, would they? And
Yeah.
then of course a few people come to them, and enough people come to them, they're like, oh, okay, well. And I think that's probably what happened with Battlestar 78, is that enough people kind of said, yeah, 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 whoa, we're here, like we make a noise, and they listened. So it does happen. So who knows, I'll probably get an email
So
from
it is.
whoever owns Krull tomorrow, and that'll be
It is.
great.
It is true
You
that the
know,
fans do. They do fuel the fandom. I mean, if
oh,
the fans are out
absolutely.
there asking for this stuff, and I guess the problem is the fans don't know who to ask. Um,
Yeah, it can be tricky, and I know I've spoken to so many people who they want to talk to a studio and they get nothing but doors slammed in their face, and it's tricky because yeah, they don't have the time to talk to every single person who wants to talk to them about, hey, could I have a license for this, or how do I go about obtaining a license? And people ask me it all the time, and there's no secret. It's just persistence and be stubborn, and be willing to be told no an awful lot. And most people, they give up after the 10th no.
hmm.
But we don't. We're stubborn.
I'll
So
tell you,
was it?
Barry.
How hard was it to get the Battlestar IP
It
going?
wasn't that bad because we're very lucky. As I say, Universal is a fantastic partner, and the nice thing about Universal is we have what's known in the trade as a catalog deal. So
Mhm.
we can take various Universal properties. So if you look, you'll notice that Knight Rider is a Universal property. They
Yes, we'd
live as
love
a
to see some Knight
Universal
Rider
property.
stuff.
So you can package together what necessarily wouldn't make sense separately. If you went into it financially to just make Knight Rider, it might not work. But if you can bolt on a few other things with it,
Hmm.
then the group, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole, or in case the opposite in this case. And that helps. So yes, it wasn't too difficult, but it was great. Some of the people at Universal, shout out to the team there, they spent the time to go into the archive, um, and find things and get us. We said, do you own the poster art? And they're like, we don't know. And I said, would you mind looking? And they look, and now we've got the poster art on the packaging, and we got assets that we didn't know we had, and they had stills that they didn't know they had. I mean, they're literally blowing the dust off some of these things,
Wow.
Wow.
We'd
because they've
love to
not
get a
been
hold of some of
touched.
that.
And we're doing that with a lot of other 80s. There are some other 80s TV shows that we're working on right now. Hopefully, I'm going to get a trip to the archive to see something from one that people might remember that I can't tell you about yet. But hey, when we know, we'll come back and talk about that. But it's
Oh,
right in the
cool.
same time period. So yeah, it's every day is a fun day. A bit of archaeology, bit of bit of digging, and you usually find what you need.
Barry, this goes right into what Chris Laskowski, he's from Australia. He's one of part of our IFB community. We've met him, really good guy. And he put up a comment, and it's I he said I'm going to read it to you.
Hmm.
I got something else out of it, but he said, "Is there somewhere we can see Factory Entertainment making the props? But what I got
Ooh.
out of it was a sort of like a documentary episodes of how you have been able to research from, the concept to what it takes. Like, you go to the archive and you get to look at some of the stuff, and then to actually package and then make it would make a hell of a either a documentary or a small series or a web series or something.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we do everything we make comes with a prop replicas anyway. We produce a prop book. So this is a
Ooh.
Star Trek one, but we try to write the story of how we do it.
Oh, wow.
So, but it's not the same. So
Yeah.
yeah. Good day, Chris. That was a good idea. Because everything we do is licensed, so things like access to the archive and stuff, not always easy. A lot of the time, people don't want you to see how the sausage is made, and there are insurance issues. They don't want people seeing what's in their archive, because if people know where the archive is, so there are some hoops to jump through. But yeah, we should talk about it. It could be. I'd
Yeah.
be interested.
Have you
With the
seen the
blessing of the licensor, we could absolutely look at it, and with the blessing of my boss, because again, there is also that argument.
Always
Now,
somebody
as
report
far
to
as
you.
the props being made, um,
I,
it would
I think that's a stretch, but to do
well,
to
it would
do
bore
like
you to
a
tears, because it's not. It's not. It's like when people come to visit the offices here, and people are always welcome. We're in the Bay Area. They're always a bit like they're expecting Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and we don't have any Oompa Loompas. It's really boring. It's a lot of boring business rubbish. And they when they do come, they always look a little crushed. They're like,
I'll tell you, I look, Barry, I don't totally agree. I understand what you're saying, but it's all in the presentation, right? I mean, there's
yeah.
these this series on icons that I'm watching, the one on Bond, and
Hmm.
they, like, they don't show video footage on everything. Sometimes they just still images, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'll use them,
Yeah.
they'll reuse them. And then there's like these shows on History Channel on how things are made, and they go to like the factory and they show you how they,
Yes.
I mean,
Well,
it the for
we know Brian Volkwise at Nacelle Toys really well, and he's made a career out of telling the story. I mean,
yeah.
I was on the Antiques Roadshow in the UK many, many, many years ago, and I remember telling them I thought there was a series to be made about the history of toys, and they told me I was an idiot. And he
Oh,
went off and made, I think, what, three series of
yeah,
award-winning
no kidding.
Netflix shows.
Yeah,
So,
Oh wow.
exactly.
that was back in the 90s. I was ahead of my time, but he did it, and
I,
they're great shows, and people love them. So hey, why not? I will talk to Universal and see if they're interested in doing something like that with BSG, and see if that's
or in
something they'll
general,
be
Yeah.
in
akin
general,
to.
Barry, in
But I
general.
picked that one because I know that they're relatively approachable.
Yeah. And we would
But
help, we would
yes,
help you
in
out.
general,
We
we
would
we
definitely help you out. So just
well, we
if you,
should talk about that, because yeah,
okay,
we it could be fun, and I'll talk to the boss and see what he says.
cool.
It'd be like a reality TV show, but way worse.
it, it might be for the 20-year-olds, but not for us, man.
Yeah, I won't
This
have
is
to wear a
really cool.
bikini. That's the main thing, because nobody want to see that.
Maybe you dress up as one of the Krull characters.
Oh, you don't have to encourage me to dress up. I'm terrible.
The I always had a thing for the knights in the
Mhm.
castle.
Oh yeah.
They get wiped out, but they were
Yes.
wearing like this
Yeah.
cool armor. I was like,
Like
oh
my other
man.
favorite is Excalibur, the
Oh
Bourne
yes, of
movie, and I
course.
believe that either some of that armor is either again from Central Cut rental,
Yeah.
because you do see things that and definitely like Arthur's armor is unique, and Terry English made it. Amazingly talented armorer. If you ever watch anybody make actual armor, it's just breathtaking to watch. I'm an amateur blacksmith in my spare time, so I kind of I'm making
Ah.
spoons and hooks, but one day I'll make a chest plate. And Adam Savage Tested and I have this thing about watching people make armor, because it's just they take a flat bit of metal and they it is like the closest thing to witchcraft that you can get, because you're like, what, like, and they make it look so effortless as well. It's really annoying, but it was decades of experience. But some of that armor was undoubtedly, because they were all made at Pinewood. There was only two or
Ooh.
three costume houses, and undoubtedly some of that armor did the rounds and probably has appeared in countless movies.
Oh boy. Superfan Fran has a question about
That's a good
um
question. Yeah.
yeah, it's a good question about you mentioned something about posters. If you get a chance, I ask you to please take a look at some of the feedback, and when you get the Fran Severns, please respond to hers. She's another big supporter of IFB and published author. She has a legacy in the fan fiction realm of Battlestar Galactica. She goes back many, many decades and was involved in the reunions, the early convention reunions for Battlestar. And a good friend of ours has been on the show many, many times. And so she put up a good one about Matt Bush and posters. So
I actually know Matt. Matt is an old friend. I love, if anybody goes on our site, we do some posters from time to time, and one of the things that's one of our little we love what we call vintage travel posters. So we do posters for fictional locations in the style of sort of a
no
1930s
way.
travel poster, and I can totally see them for Galactic.
Oh my God, visit
If we get to do
Caprica.
one in the bar with the
Visit,
lady with the multiple eyes, then
oh my God. Carolyn, visit Carolyn, visit.
yes, that kind of
Oh
thing, and do them in a
man.
sort of a
Oof.
pseudo Art Deco style.
Oh my God.
Um,
I
that could
want
be
it.
fun.
I
Yeah,
want
there
it.
you go. You got them right there.
So there you
um,
go.
we've done a variety. So that one, yeah. If you're an artist, Matt, I know, so I can definitely reach out to Matt. But if you're an artist and you've got a concept, again, but please email me. I can't promise anything, but I'd love to look at it, and I'd love to look at the viability of it, because posters are fun.
Matt's
Yeah,
been a guest
Matt's
on
been
our
on, yeah.
show.
And actually,
We've had
recently
him
he's
on,
been on
and
his
yeah,
Facebook site saying
He's awesome.
yeah,
saying
he
that
is.
he's interested in doing the redoing the Battlestar Galactica.
I'll have to look him up because he did a poster for my Star Wars show. God, in 2017, was it earlier than that? 2016? Yeah. So I'll have to look him up because he's super talented.
Oh yeah,
And we
yeah,
can talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
80s heavy metal together and be really sad.
He's a friend, so he's a good guy.
There we
Barry,
go. I like
thank you.
Robert said. What about the Numos from Lost Warrior or the tinfoil cowboy hats from the
Oh,
Lost Warrior?
oh,
I don't know that one.
You
You've stumped me.
It's you got to watch the Lost Warrior because that's what
Okay.
our fan film's based on the Lost Warrior. It's
it's a
the
prequel.
prequel to that
Captain
one.
Morton.
So
Oh, I got to look that up.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
I don't
tinfoil
normally get stumped, but I'm stumped on that one.
the tinfoil
Oh, yeah.
hats. And another thing is you don't see everybody's been trying to do a set of cards or cubits.
Ah,
Um,
pyramid.
pyramid cards or cubits. So
Well, that one, yeah. I'm working on that. It's tricky.
Oh,
Oh, this is a viable question for the group. In the show, to the best of my knowledge, and I'm trying to get this clarified, but the only person who might really know, well, most of them are no longer with us, sadly. It is my understanding that in the original show, no full sets of cards ever existed. We see the two sets. We see the one that the colonial pilots use, which has a specific graphic on the back, and then we see a slightly different graphic pattern. I'll describe it as sort of a swirly shape in the casino, which, and my, again, probably wrong understanding, is one is a military version and one is a civilian version. But the actual cards themselves, we never see in the show, and I don't know that they bothered to make a full set of cards. I believe that the full set was developed post the show so that it could be played. But I would be interested to find out if that is true. I have been trying to work out who was responsible for the cards because I'd love to know. I have been told it was Glenn Larson himself, but I find that hard to believe,
Yeah.
unless he was some amateur graphic designer. So I would love to know the story behind the cards, and obviously they come with something made of metal, which yes, we are working on. Because you can't have the cards without those.
without the cubits.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
I've
without the
actually
cubes.
seen there was somebody who's selling it on eBay at one point in time. I almost bought it. It was $200 for a non-cut sheet from the movie or from the show. It was not a
See, that
full
would answer
set.
the question. So
It
it
wasn't
was
a full set, but it was a non-cut.
Uncut.
Yep, uncut set.
Because the later rules that I believe were fan created
Yes,
and
yes.
then blessed by whether it was Glenn himself, but they contradict the card hands that we see Starbuck play, because there aren't enough of
Right.
the
There's
cards to make it. The hand that he plays would be so rare to achieve based on the rules. So we're trying to get that. This is one where we might only make the card. We do the tarot cards from James Bond,
Right.
from Live and Let Die, and they
Oh, we've
only
never
made
seen those before,
27
right, Pete?
cards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We've never seen those before, right, Pete?
No,
No,
yeah,
no.
yeah, yeah. Those
They
are
only
awesome.
made, for the production, they only made 27 cards, because they
Wow.
just ran out of time.
But
Now
weren't they
it's
based on actual original tarot cards? There's an
Well, it's a
artist that made
great
them.
story. If you want to, can we go on a Bond tangent for 5 minutes? I don't
Of
want to waste
course.
your time.
Let's do it.
Yes.
So, Cubby Broccoli commissioned Salvador Dali to do.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And Salvador Dali, being an artist, missed every single deadline. And the story is, shortly before they were needed, Cubby Broccoli contacted Salvador Dali and said, "Hey, where's my tarot cards?" And he was like, "Huh? Okay, well,
Hang
I
on.
haven't done them." So they had to find an alternative, and Cubby Broccoli was a fairly avid art fan, and he saw some artwork, and oh man, I'm spacing on the guy's name. Oh boy, this is really embarrassing. He's a Scottish artist, and he'd drawn some tarot cards as art pieces, large, as they weren't intended to be actual tarot. Fergus Hall. The guy's name was Fergus Hall. He's a lovely man. I did actually have a chance to speak to him when we did the cards, and he was a fascinating guy. And went and lived as a Buddhist monk for years in the Highlands of Scotland. Anyway, he basically, Cubby said, "Hey, we need a set of cards, and we need them by," and I believe it was 2 weeks. So he was told to get the cards ready in 2 weeks, and literally that's all he could get ready in 2 weeks was 27 cards. So they went with it, and it was enough for the film, and we see some of the cards played. But a full deck of tarot has 72 cards in it.
Right.
And between the end of the filming and the release of the film, a tarot company approached Fergus and finished out the set. And they also corrected some of the errors. Some of the characters you see on the screen in Live and Let Die physically couldn't exist in a set of tarot, because you have to have certain characteristics. So they needed characters when she does the scene where she says, "A man comes, he moves across water." They needed cards that would match the narrative of the speech, but they don't necessarily match tarot as a real thing. So the cards that were released at the time of the film are different to the cards you see on screen. Then they had a second set of cards when she's in the Fillet of Soul and she reads the cards and they get burnt. Those are Rider-Waite cards, which are the commercially available tarot that if you go to a store to buy tarot, those are the ones that you'll get. So they have two sets of cards. And yeah, we were able to get hold of the original artwork. We tracked down the son of the guy who did the typography, because people forget back in those days that Fergus Hall just painted the artwork. There were no words, and he didn't know the right names. So some of them have the wrong terminology used, but they say things. And we duplicated those. So we did those, and we only did the 27 that you see on screen as a set to replicate the prop. Because we weren't trying to make a set that someone could use for tarot. And I won't say play, because I know people don't see tarot as a plaything. Right. And it wasn't the intention to create a readable deck, because they already exist. The Fergus Hall set you can buy in any store.
Yes.
But they are different to the film. But with Pyramid, I think you have to be able to play it. It's kind of sucky if you can't play it. And I don't know about you, but I want to sit down and have a game of it with a bunch of friends.
Well,
definitely.
So Barry, with the convention that never was, we actually Tipsy made sets of pyramid cards.
Yes.
And we found the fan made rules, and we taught ourselves how to play. So we were going to go to the convention and have a night where we invited everybody, and we were going to play.
We've got to do that somehow. Right. What I will do is I will send you guys my breakdown of what I believe the cards to be, and you can tell me how wrong I am, and we'll work it out and we'll get it right. Because yeah, I think we should include a full or a playable deck. Let's call it that.
Yeah, I went for the cards. I actually went all the way with the different the cotton print
Yes,
pieces
with the right material, so they're
right
white on one side
glue them
and
together
tan on the other.
Yeah, glued all together and everything else. And it was an actual kit.
We're going to do the two designs. That's the G for Glenn, and then there's the L for Larson. Another question: should we do the round ones, which I believe are planchettes or planquettes?
Yes. Those are the Why not?
That was in.
Okay, well that one,
cool.
Magnificent Warriors. That's when they.
That's the one where you see the cards, what I would call the commercial cards in the casino, which have the different designs on the back.
Right. Actually, they're a whole a different set of cards at that point. It looks like
the designs look. You don't see
else.
The faces.
Yeah.
The episode where we see Starbuck trying to teach Boxy to play, we get a nice, beautiful. He literally shows him the cards. But when you're seeing that shot in the when it's over his shoulder, you don't see them as much. He does lay down a hand, I believe, and I think you see one of the guys. But
I want to say it's a different game. I don't believe it's.
It could be. It could be. So that's one. Let's try and get that as right as we can, unless somebody can point us in the direction of the fine individual that created them for the show, because that one's a fun one.
I have one more request for you in regards to what you might want to create, and this is a mediocre modeler special.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Count Nibley.
God, I'm going to have such a list. My boss is going to kill me. I've just raised the Battlestar list from like 6 SKUs to about 47 SKUs.
So I copied this directly from the movie or from the show. Multiple different screenshots, multiple different scenes, and actually have the if you need the actual pieces to this, I have it flat, and I made a round one because I thought that's really kind of what it should have been,
like a shield.
It looks like the kilt pin for a Highland. They're very similar. They had that same design.
So
Count
Nibley.
Okay, well you're going to be my new best friends because you helped me.
Well, we don't want to be. We're not looking. See, that's the great thing about IFB is we're fandom. We're not looking to make money or anything like that. Our goal is to increase the fandom, increase the interest in the Battlestar Galactica the thing.
Yep.
It's so important that we reach out and get these people motivated.
I can't stress how nice that is, and obviously, we want to help and we want to be part of that group, and that requires us to be like I said, it's a family, and you don't want to be the uncle that sponges off of everybody and borrows the car keys and never brings them back. I keep saying the uncle. People are going to wonder what the hell went wrong in this guy's family. I don't have any horrible uncles.
I got an uncle like worse than that, so don't
Everybody's
worry
got one, right?
Yeah, come on.
or an auntie in some cases, but usually uncles. They're usually the reprobates.
Yep, that's right. Oh boy! Again, Barry, thank you so much for
pleasure.
taking the time out. We had a really, really good time, and that is again, we've been on Barry. We've been on for 5 seasons, and it's been every Thursday. So we have a long track record of having guests on, and when we have a fan that comes on from whatever world they represent, whatever it is that they're doing, it's totally different. Right? It's like family. We're here. We're talking about our stuff. The fans enjoy it. We all have a good time. And we truly want you to come back. We want to try to, be a part of this and keep things going and satisfy the requirements that you have as a businessman. But at the same time, we all get enjoyment out of, having and collecting and being a part of that process in some little way. And you have a place to come to.
Thank you. It's been it's been an honor and a privilege, and audience, fans, whatever we refer to ourselves as. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to my inane ramblings.
No, this is great. We had a great time. Deg says thanks. Great having you on board. If you get a chance, you'll see some of the comments from the fans.
Wait, I'm that uncle.
Yeah. Oh, Colin says he admits defeating the uncle.
God bless you, sir.
Oh, yeah. So he gets a pass because he's a Battlestar Galactica and IFB fan. But no, hey.
It's character building. It builds character among
Yeah.
children to be around those uncles.
Yes, exactly. So look, it's great. It's fun. We enjoy what we do. And we thank you again for coming on, Barry. And like I said, let's keep the communications open.
Yeah, no,
we want to make sure this happens and make sure that the Battlestar Galactica legacy lives on.
Yeah,
it is so
absolutely
important that we get the fans involved, as well as industry leaders, people like yourself, and people who are into the industry or create these things, to get that union of the fans and the industry is that perfect storm. And it's so important that you get to that point, because if you don't, then it looks, you're a fan, which is, we love that. It looks like, hey, I'm just out for the money, or I'm out for whatever else. And we realize, you see some of the stuff about the blaster saying, oh, it's $500. What am I going to pay for? But then again, you talk to a person that's behind the scenes and realize that this is it's part of a business, but that business also is what will push the fandom forward. It's unfortunate that if you can't afford it, we're not asking you to go and go
mortgage
pay
the
your
house.
rent or something
Yeah.
to buy something
Yeah.
like this. But it's important that you support the fandom in any way you shape or form you can. So maybe you can't afford this product. Maybe the next product that comes along you can afford.
Or just, if you can't afford any of them, just be part of the community. The idea is, life sucks. We have bills to pay and taxes and the world's crap, but this brings us joy.
Yes.
And if you just got a little moment of joy, if you spend 5 minutes on a website or an hour on a podcast or watching a fan film, just remember that that's what you felt when you watched those things as a kid. You felt that joy. And it's really hard to remember, and I want to get kind of schmaltzy, but it's so easy to get wrapped up in the kind of the dog's sick and I got bills to pay and all this, and it sucks and it's horrible, and like I said, life's generally pretty awful. But these little moments, and just if you love it and you can't afford it, go watch BSG.
Go watch some.
Go watch it. Go watch 10 minutes of it. It'll cheer you up. It'll put a smile in your face.
I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, go watch some.
Unless it's the beginning episode where everyone dies, but
Hey, sci-fiction. Owen Cotter's on with us. Thank you, Owen, for joining us. He's a colleague in the streaming world with well over 150,000 followers. Thank you for coming on, Owen. Appreciate it. We need to talk soon. Barry, again, thank you. Look forward to future visits.
Yes, like I said, honor and
to
privilege.
help out and show us the new stuff. Let us see it.
We will talk again. Trust me.
You gotta see the new stuff.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And here's to you, sir. Keep doing what
Thank
you're
you.
doing. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Fans feel
Sure
the fleet.
do. Fans feel the fleet, guys. Stay well. Keep clicking those thumbs up and the likes, guys. We need that for the algorithms. So all the best to all of you, and keep the faith. All right,
Yep,
and we'll see
faith.
you at the next
I had
show.
a dream about that the other day. So
Yeah, you did.
But once again, everybody, thanks. We will be back next Thursday, and same bat channel, same bat place. Don't forget to give us the likes on YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah.
And that's it now. And we'll go from there. If you happen to be in DC this weekend for Awesome Con, let me know. I'll come by and we'll talk and throw you on the video and talk about that too. But here's to you, fans through the fleet. Keep doing what you're doing, and we love you all. So take care.
Take care.
I